Yes, YouTube, hope that you're good. It's Ben Hawksworth at The Coach Consultant, and today we'll be talking about how to cement your offer into the market. So at this point, I'm pretty sure that most people should know what an offer is. If not, you need to really make sure that you're diving into that now, because that in essence is going to give you the bare bones framework for absolutely every single thing that you do across sales, acquisition, content, getting client results, and absolutely everything across the board. So what you've got to think about once you've actually built this offer is to think, how do you actually cement this into the market? And I feel like this is an area that a lot of people kind of go wrong with it. And in essence, what you've got to look at when it comes to cementing a offer into the market is a lot of specificity, but also a lot of repetition at the same time. So when we're basically looking at this type of format, I've put down a load of different points that I'm going to walk through all at the same time. But I want you to remember one thing that I've written down at the bottom of the board, and that is energy sells, right? Most of the time, the reason that people aren't cementing their offers into the market is because they're not actually getting a substantial amount of energy behind it, right? If you clearly back your offer, people will attach onto that level of confidence. It does not matter how much effort you put into absolutely everything else. If you do not get energy behind content, energy behind your stories, energy behind your emails, and excitement behind what you are doing, then you can't expect someone else to come in and just suddenly jump on the boat and get on the bandwagon. Like, you need to be the leader of this. So what we've got to first look at before we cement an offer is to actually make sure that we are massively confident behind what we are selling to people and what we are presenting to them, because in essence that is the initial bare brains framework for us to be a lot more confident, to enable us to have more energy. So as a first starting point, what I want to look at is this bubble at the top. Remember, always keeping in mind throughout all of this, energy sells. Right, I want you to focus less on the deliverables of what you are going to give to your audience, and I want you to focus on everything in terms of the transformation that you can create for them. When you go into this with a mindset of thinking about the end transformation and the end result, that will dictate the style of content that you will create, how you will write copy, how you sell, but most importantly, how you actually build your program. So for example, it doesn't matter if you've got 100 deliverables if only 10 of them are actually getting someone to the desired situation of getting them the result. Every single thing that we give to someone needs to continuously and utterly obsess over getting towards that final transformation. And a lot of the time, less is more. And as you'll basically see with pain point repetition, which I'm going to talk about in a second, the next thing that you've got to take into account is the who versus why. So I put who versus why because that's so important. It's not just about targeting someone, it's targeting someone why, right? Why are we targeting that person? Why can we guarantee that person a transformation? How are we that obsessively confident with who we are targeting and why we are targeting them to get them to that desired situation that we can build the right type of deliverables? Because when you start asking yourself the question of why, like I love the question of why. So the why for me, if you've ever seen the 5 whys, is the way that you get to a deep root cause pain point. So if you don't know that, go onto ChatGPT or go onto Google and type in 5 whys. 5 whys deep root cause pain point, right? Because what that basically does is it gives you so many different avenues and so much more depth to what you are actually doing. So rather than targeting a singular person, I want you to heavily go into like the rationale of why you are targeting that person, why it means something to you, and most importantly, why you are so confident that you can actually create a transformation with that person. From that point, what you've got to look at in terms of further confidence associated with what you are doing is if you are launching a new offer, so if this is a group program, if it could be a challenge, it could be a new high ticket service, it could be a low ticket app, it could be a recipe book, it could be anything. Make sure that you have a sustained period of time where you're getting beta testers in place, because that is going to not only enable you to have a lot of social proof associated with what you are doing, but most importantly, it's going to give you a substantial amount of confidence to put yourself in a situation where you've got more energy to actually fucking sell the thing that you are providing to people, right? So that is most importantly just if you've got a new service, for example. Right, and then cementing the offer. So this is basically one of the biggest things where people go wrong, right? And that is where they think that suddenly they've got an offer and they put it onto social media and they're suddenly going to get loads of leads because they've got an offer, right? When it comes to offering, what you've got to take into account is more often than not, you might have 3 pain points associated with that. So as I've said on previous videos, as is content acquisition and sales. So for me to cement my offer into the market, then I need to repeat as much value and as many points associated with content acquisition and sales as possible to really kind of hone in on that person, because over time I will, and they will only know me as what that is, right? Because I've repeated it so much. I've not gone from content acquisition sales to suddenly going left, to suddenly going right, to suddenly going here. I've just gone all in on these three areas, and that is an area that I feel like a lot of people kind of get wrong, where they just try and jump between so many different areas. And for us to actually cement an offer to the market, we need to go out of our way to actually cement that with as much repetition as possible. The next thing when it comes to cementing your offer is actually making sure that you are pricing accordingly. So for example, price based on value, not based on your confidence. More often than not, yes, you'll be confident with your offer, but you might not be that confident at the point where you can charge what you actually need to be charging for it. And if you are undercharging for your offer and going out of your way to do all of this different stuff, then that is going to affect your energy to actually sell the thing that you need to be obviously pushing forward. So if you are not actually charging enough, then that is going to directly correlate to you having lower confidence and lower motivation. And that is going to directly in turn affect how much energy you have to sell it. Can you see how it all comes back to how confident you need to be with your energy? Because again, if you know you can sell a transformation, you'll have energy. If you know the who and why, you'll have energy. If you're repeating the same pain points and it's really clear what you are doing and who you are speaking to, you're going to have energy. Beta testing gives you confidence, energy. An evidence bank is something that, regardless of just starting an offer now or been doing it 10 years, guys, I want you to get as many clients' screenshots, feedbacks, results, testimonials, and put it into a massive fucking bank, because that is the stuff that your audience needs to see to have confidence, alongside you to have a lot more energy behind what you are actually selling. So when we start moving over onto the right hand side of the board here, guys, we've got consistent celebrating success, we've got backing up your actual claims, and then having a clear set structure to your bio, call to actions and captions. So these two here go hand in hand. I should have a pen in my pocket somewhere. So these two here go hand in hand. So when you've got like a clear bio that presents an offer, you've got call to actions that present an offer, and you've got captions that present an offer, all we are doing is to have basically to have more repetition of that going into as many pain points as possible, to as new people coming to the page and seeing more call to actions, seeing more captions, seeing that bio again, seeing those pain points. And that is where we are going to get to a point of emitting the right type of response, because we are ingrained in people's brains what we are actually doing, what we are providing, and how you are actually helping them. It's cemented over time. Exactly the same when you've got consistent success celebration. All we're trying to do is we're trying to create not only as much evidence in our bank as possible to have on emails, to have on content, to have on anything, but we're also trying to come in here and actually present as much real-time feedback as possible of what's happening right now, what's fresh and new, what's kind of coming in, because it's the type of stuff that people need to see to be confident with your offer, not just a bank of potential load of old results. What is clearly new that's coming in, what's clearly happening. And then the biggest one down at the bottom, which I've just done a YouTube video on earlier, which basically is the final slide of saying you don't need to just have an offer, right? So we've obviously got an offer here, right? So an offer is just a standalone. In essence, this is just a single statement, right? So that is just a single statement. What I'm basically saying to you guys here is, on the previous video I spoke about that you need to have an ecosystem, right, behind your actual offering. Because if you've got an ecosystem behind your offering, then what that means is you have basically got transformation style process with clear deliverables and not a load of shit for the sake of it. You know the exact who and why, you've had beta testing, you've got an evidence bank, you're charging based on value, not confidence, and you can back up your claims with having an absolutely incredible delivery with your program to achieve that transformation. Right? Because that is what an offer is. An offer is not just what you have as a statement on the front end. An offer is basically how you go out of your way to make sure that you back up every single claim with as much evidence as humanly possible to support what you are saying. So when you're kind of coming in now, guys, I want you to really think about things from a 360 perspective, and always remember that statement. If you can get behind your offer, and have serious level of confidence with that, then I can categorically promise you that your audience will get behind it as well, and your clients will get behind actually promoting it. They will be raving fans. But for any period of time when you are not confident with your offer, your content, your acquisition, and most importantly, how you back up your claims within your program, that is what will create self-doubt, that is what will create imposter syndrome, and that is what will create the kind of point where you kind of give up, and that's not what we want in any way, shape or form. Because this is why businesses plateau. Energy has dropped. Why has energy dropped? Is it because of content acquisition sales, or is it because of the fact that we're not actually presenting our offer clearly enough for people to actually be interested in it in the first place? And have we got enough evidence to back up, and as much new celebration of success to back up why someone should have confidence and assurance to actually invest into our services? So again, really important one, this, guys. Like, this is not a 2-minute quick fix. This is something that you need to have in the forefront of your mind at all times. And then over time, you cement your offer into a market penetration, sales are coming through, raving fans, referrals. Life is all good at that point, isn't it? So again, if you want help with building an offer, building a signature program, building results banks, building absolutely every single thing that I'm speaking about on here and 10 times more, then you know what to do, guys. There's a link somewhere in my bio where you can book a free discovery call with my team, which again is no pressure in any way, shape or form, but it's just a really easy way, sorry I nearly dropped that, an easy way for you to kind of understand exactly what I mean by I back up every single claim that I make in these YouTube videos in my program, and my team will show you exactly how. So if you've enjoyed this one, guys, and you want to know more information, you know what to do. If not, see you on the next video.